The massive diplomatic ship of the Galactic Council gleamed like a silver pearl against the dark canvas of space. Inside, Ambassador Tom Wright adjusted his tie for the 10th time, trying to calm his nerves. Next to him, his German shepherd, Max, sat quietly, his well-trained eyes watching his human's every move. "It's a big day, buddy," Tom muttered, scratching behind Max's ears. He hadn't planned to bring his dog to this historic meeting, but 3 days of space travel had left him no choice. The request for Earth to join the Galactic Council had come suddenly, and there hadn't been time to find a dog sitter. The meeting room doors slid open with a soft hiss. 4 different alien species sat around a large circular table. Their bodies were different shapes and sizes, but they all shared one thing. They were the most powerful members of the Galactic Council. "Welcome, human ambassador," the tallest alien spoke. Its blue skin sparkled under the room's soft light. "I am High Counselor Blue Star. We are pleased to." The alien stopped mid-sentence, its 4 eyes growing wide with horror. Max had stood up, stretching after his long nap. The reaction was instant. Chairs scraped against the floor as the alien council members jumped back. One small green alien let out a high-pitched scream. Another pressed an emergency button on the wall. "What is the meaning of this?" Blue Star's voice shook. "Why have you brought a miniature Death Hunter into our chambers?" Tom looked confused. "Death Hunter? This is Max, my dog. He's perfectly friendly." "Friendly?" A red-skinned alien with multiple arms spoke up. "That creature is the spitting image of the wolf beasts of Sirius, the most feared predators in the known galaxy." Security forces rushed into the room, pointing strange weapons at Max. The dog simply tilted his head, looking at them with curious eyes. "Everyone, please calm down," Tom said, raising his hands. "Max is a domesticated animal. Humans have been living with dogs for thousands of years. They're our companions, helpers, and friends." The room fell silent. The alien stared at him as if he had grown a second head. "Impossible," whispered Blue Star. "The wolf beasts have terrorized spacefaring civilizations for millennia. They hunt in packs, show incredible intelligence, and have never been successfully captured or tamed." Tom smiled and pulled out his tablet. "Let me show you something." He projected images into the air. Dogs helping police, guide dogs leading blind people, rescue dogs finding survivors in disasters, and puppies playing with children. "These are all descendants of wolves, Earth's version of your wolf beasts," Tom explained. "Over generations, humans formed bonds with them. We learned to understand each other. Now they're part of our families." To demonstrate, Tom gave Max a hand signal. The dog immediately lay down, rolled over, and then sat up, offering his paw to the nearest alien. The council members watched in amazement as this creature, so similar to their nightmares, performed tricks like a well-trained performer. But how? The green alien had stopped screaming and now looked fascinated. "Patience, understanding, and lots of treats," Tom laughed. He pulled a dog biscuit from his pocket and tossed it to Max, who caught it gently. The aliens huddled together, speaking in hushed tones. After several minutes, Blue Star turned back to Tom. "Human ambassador, we called this meeting to evaluate Earth's potential contribution to the Galactic Council. We never imagined." Blue Star paused, looking at Max with new eyes. "Your species has achieved something we thought impossible. Perhaps there is much we can learn from each other." Tom grinned. "Just wait until you hear about our cats." The entire council flinched at once, and Tom realized this might be the start of a very interesting relationship between Earth and the galaxy. 3 months after the surprising first contact meeting, emergency alarms blared through the Galactic Council's main station. Dr. Kate Miller watched from the window of her newly arrived ship as space stations across the sector flashed red warning lights. "Another attack," she said, checking her tablet. Behind her, a team of Earth's best animal experts unpacked their equipment. They had brought everything from reinforced catch poles to giant space-worthy treats. High Counselor Blue Star's hologram appeared in the ship's command center. "Dr. Miller, the situation is worse than we feared. The Void Stalkers have attacked 12 colonies in the past week. We've lost contact with 3 of them." Kate nodded, studying the footage of the creatures. They looked like massive black panthers with 6 legs and glowing purple stripes. Their bodies seemed to fade in and out of reality as they moved, making them nearly impossible to track. "Have you tried shooting them?" asked Bob, Kate's assistant, as he sorted through their supplies. "For 200 years, Blue Star replied sadly. They phase through solid matter when threatened. We cannot kill what we cannot touch." Kate smiled. "Who said anything about killing them? We're here to understand them." The alien council members watching the exchange looked at each other in confusion. One of them spoke up. "These are the most dangerous predators in the known universe. Every predator has patterns," Kate explained, pulling up more footage. "Look here. They always attack in groups of 3. And here, they mark their territory with those claw marks. They're not just killing machines. They're intelligent animals with social structures." The aliens watched in amazement as Kate and her team analyzed hours of attack footage, taking notes and making observations. They pointed out behaviors that the aliens had never noticed, how the creatures communicated through body language, how they protected their young, and how they chose their hunting grounds. "Fascinating," Kate muttered, watching a void stalker rub its face against a space station's outer wall. "They're just like big cats. They're marking their territory with scent glands. But how does this help us?" Blue Star asked desperately. "Another colony just went dark." Kate turned to her team. "Time to test our theory. Get the lures ready." The human team suited up in their space gear, each carrying strange-looking devices. The aliens watched nervously as they headed toward the station's outer airlock. "What are those things?" asked a Green Council member, pointing at the devices. "Catnip bombs," Bob answered with a grin. "Well, a special space version we developed. If these creatures are anything like Earth cats, this should get their attention." The team spread out along the station's hull, placing the devices at strategic points. Within minutes, 3 void stalkers appeared, their massive bodies shifting through the darkness of space. The aliens gasped, expecting the humans to be torn apart. Instead, the creatures approached the devices cautiously, their nose slits flaring. One of them rolled over, rubbing against the device like a giant kitten. "See," Kate's voice came through the comm. "They're not evil. They're just big space cats marking what they think is their territory. They attack colonies because we built them in their hunting grounds." The team spent the next few hours observing the creatures' behavior up close. They recorded how the Void Stalkers played with the devices, how they communicated with each other, and most importantly, how they responded to different stimuli. Back inside the station, Kate presented her findings to the stunned council. "We can establish safe zones using synthetic markers that mimic their territorial sense. More importantly, we might be able to start building trust with them." "Trust with Void Stalkers?" Blue Star looked shocked. Kate pulled up an image of ancient cave paintings. "Humans once feared wolves and big cats too, but we learned to understand them. Sometimes the scariest creatures make the best allies, if you take the time to understand them first." The council members looked at each other, then back at the humans. For the first time in centuries, they felt something new when thinking about the Void Stalkers. Hope. The observation deck of Research Station Alpha was silent except for the soft beeping of computers. Dr. Kate Miller and her team had spent 2 weeks studying the Void Stalkers, and what they discovered amazed them more each day. "Look at this," Kate said, pointing to a holographic display. The image showed 3 Void Stalkers moving through space in a perfect triangle formation. They hunt just like lion prides on Earth. 1 leads, 2 flank. Bob nodded, munching on a sandwich while he watched the footage. "And they always protect the smallest one. Must be young." The alien scientists in the room looked nervous. One of them, a tall blue-skinned researcher named First Observer, stepped forward. "You speak of these monsters as if they were simple animals." Kate smiled. "Because that's exactly what they are. Complex, intelligent animals, but animals nonetheless." She pulled up more footage. "See this behavior. When they rub their faces against the station walls. Classic scent marking. They're not attacking us. They're trying to tell us we're in their space." The station shook slightly as a void stalker passed close by. Instead of running in fear, the human team rushed to the windows with their recording devices. "Perfect timing," Kate exclaimed. "Watch this, everyone." The massive creature outside was easily the size of a small spaceship. Its 6 legs moved gracefully through the void, and its purple stripes pulsed with a gentle light. It approached one of the scent markers the humans had placed. "Now, watch carefully," Kate said. The void stalker sniffed the marker, then did something that made the alien scientists gasp. It sat down and waited, its tail swishing back and forth in space. "Just like we predicted," Bob said proudly. "They're intelligent enough to recognize patterns. We've been leaving food near that marker at the same time every day." First Observer shook his head in disbelief. "You mean you've been feeding them? Like common pets?" "Every successful relationship starts with trust," Kate explained. "And with predators, trust often begins with food." She checked her watch. "Speaking of which, Bob, get the food launcher ready." The team moved quickly, preparing a large container filled with synthetic meat, specially designed for space use. The aliens watched in horror as they opened a small airlock and launched the container toward the waiting void stalker. The creature caught the container gently in its massive jaws. Instead of attacking the station, it simply ate its meal, and then did something even more surprising. It purred. The sound vibrated through the station's hull, making the windows hum. "They're social creatures," Kate explained, taking notes. "In the wild, they live in family groups. The attacks on colonies increased when we started building in their breeding grounds. They're not evil. They're just protecting their families." First Observer moved closer to the window, watching the void stalker with new eyes. "In all our records, spanning thousands of years, no one has ever suggested they might be intelligent in this way." "Fear blinds us," Kate said softly. "Humans learned this lesson long ago. When we first met wolves, bears, and big cats on Earth, we thought they were mindless killers too. But then we learned to observe, to understand, and eventually to connect." The void stalker finished its meal and moved closer to the window. Its huge eyes, glowing like purple stars, looked directly at them. Then, slowly, it blinked. "It's a slow blink," Bob exclaimed excitedly. "Just like house cats." "What does that mean?" First Observer asked. Kate smiled. "In cat language, a slow blink is a sign of trust. It means I feel safe enough around you to close my eyes." She stepped forward and slowly blinked back at the massive creature. The alien scientists watched in amazement as the most feared predator in the galaxy played what looked like a friendly blinking game with a human. Outside the window, 2 more void stalkers appeared, curious about their companion's new behavior. "And this," Kate said proudly, "is just the beginning." Jack Thompson had spent 20 years working with big cats on Earth, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. Through the reinforced window of Research Station Alpha, he watched a baby void stalker playing with a giant space toy he had designed. "Look at that coordination," he said softly, making notes on his tablet. "Even at this young age, it can phase through solid matter perfectly." The baby void stalker was about the size of a small car, much smaller than the adults. Its purple stripes glowed softly as it batted the special toy back and forth in space. The toy was designed to partially phase like the creatures did, making it perfect for play. Dr. Kate Miller stood beside Jack, watching with pride. "The mother is letting it play closer to the station each day. She trusts us now." The alien scientists in the room still couldn't believe their eyes. First observer shook his head. A juvenile void stalker. In all our history, no one has ever seen one this close. That's because you never gave them a reason to show you they're young, Jack explained. He checked his spacesuit one last time. And now we take the next step. The aliens gasped as Jack walked toward the airlock. You cannot be serious, First observer said. Going out there with a juvenile. The mother will tear you apart. Jack smiled. The mother knows me. I've been feeding her for weeks. And more importantly, I've never shown any threat to her baby. Before anyone could stop him, Jack entered the airlock. The room fell silent as he floated out into space, moving slowly toward the playing baby void stalker. The massive creature noticed him immediately. It stopped playing and tilted its head, much like a curious kitten. Its 6 legs moved gracefully as it swam through space toward Jack. Easy there, little one. Jack's voice came through the comm system. He held out a special treat in his gloved hand. That's it. Nice and slow. The baby void stalker sniffed the air, its nose slits flaring. From the darkness of space, its mother appeared, watching carefully. The aliens in the station held their breath, sure they were about to witness Jack's death. Instead, the mother void stalker made a soft, rumbling sound that vibrated through space. The baby, hearing this, moved closer to Jack. With movements that seemed impossibly gentle for such a large creature, it took the treat from his hand. Good girl, Jack said softly. He slowly raised his other hand, letting the baby sniff it. You're just a big space kitten, aren't you? The baby made a purring sound and pushed its massive head against Jack's hand. The vibration was so strong it made Jack's whole suit shake, but he didn't move away. Instead, he started scratching behind what they had identified as the creature's ears. The baby void stalker's purple stripes glowed brighter with pleasure. It rolled over in space, showing its belly just like a house cat would. I don't believe it, First observer whispered. The most dangerous predator in the galaxy, asking for belly rubs. Inside her spacesuit, Dr. Kate Miller smiled. This is how it always begins. One brave person, one curious animal, and trust built slowly over time. For the next hour, the team watched as Jack played with the baby void stalker while its mother watched calmly. He threw special space toys, scratched its favorite spots, and even started teaching it simple commands using hand signals. When Jack finally returned to the station, his face was beaming. Did you see that? Did you see how quickly it learned the sit command? These creatures might be even smarter than we thought. First observer looked at the humans with new respect. Perhaps, he said slowly, we have been wrong about many things. If you can befriend the void stalkers, what else might be possible? Outside the window, the baby void stalker pressed its face against the glass, wondering when its new friend would come out to play again. Red emergency lights flashed throughout the Galactic Council's main space station. Alarms blared as hundreds of wild void stalkers surrounded the massive structure, their purple stripes glowing with anger. They're everywhere. First observer shouted, looking at the security screens. At least 300 of them. This is the largest pack we've ever seen. Dr. Kate Miller studied the screens carefully. They're not attacking randomly. Look at their formation. They're protecting something. Jack Thompson burst into the control room, already wearing his spacesuit. The scans confirm it. There's a huge void stalker breeding ground right below the station. We built this place right on top of their nursery. The station shook as the first wave of void stalkers attacked. Their massive bodies phased through the outer walls easily, but the inner security barriers still held, barely. We need to evacuate, Blue Star commanded. We cannot fight them. Not this many. Wait, Kate held up her hand. We don't need to fight. We need to show them we understand. She turned to Jack. Get the team. And bring our special friends. The aliens watched in confusion as the human team rushed to the lower levels. In a specially built chamber, 6 young void stalkers waited. Over the past month, Jack had trained them daily, building trust and teaching them commands. "This is madness," First Observer said. "You cannot control them in a situation like this." Kate smiled. "We don't control them. We work with them. There's a big difference." Jack and his team suited up and entered the chamber. Each trainer approached their Void Stalker partner. The creatures, now the size of small ships, purred happily at seeing their human friends. "Good girls," Jack said, patting his partner's head. He'd named her Star because of how brightly her stripes glowed when she was happy, ready to meet some new friends. The human team mounted their Void Stalker partners, using special harnesses they had designed. Each human sat just behind the creature's head, where they could easily give signals. "Remember," Kate said through the comm system, "we're not fighting. We're communicating." The outer doors opened, and 6 humans riding Void Stalkers flew out into space. The wild Void Stalkers stopped their attack, clearly confused by what they were seeing. Jack and Star took the lead. Star made a series of complicated rumbling sounds, the Void Stalker language the humans had studied so carefully. The wild ones responded, their stripes flashing in patterns. "They're talking about the breeding ground," Kate said, reading the light patterns. "Explain that we'll move." Jack gave Star the signals they had practiced. She moved forward, making more sounds and showing submissive body language. She was telling the wild ones that the humans understood and respected their territory. The largest wild Void Stalker, clearly the pack leader, moved forward. It was bigger than any they had seen before, its stripes almost white with power. It circled Star and Jack, sniffing them carefully. The entire station held its breath. Then, slowly, the pack leader did something amazing. It blinked slowly at them, just like they had learned in training. A sign of trust. It worked. Jack's excited voice came through the comm. "They understand we're not enemies." Over the next hour, the human Void Stalker teams worked together to establish boundaries. They used special markers to show where the station would move to, far enough from the breeding grounds to keep both species happy. When the teams returned to the station, they found the alien council members waiting in shocked silence. "Impossible," Blue Star whispered. "You turned the deadliest hunters in the galaxy into partners," Kate finished for him. "Just like humans have done for thousands of years. Different species can work together if you just take the time to understand each other." Outside the station, wild and trained Void Stalkers now moved peacefully through space together, their purple stripes glowing softly in the darkness. 6 months after the Great Void Stalker Crisis, the halls of Earth's first interstellar wildlife academy were packed with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Dr. Kate Miller stood at the front of the main lecture hall, watching as her unusual students took their seats. "Welcome to Basic Animal Understanding 101. She said, smiling at the eager faces before her. "Today we'll start with the most important lesson, the difference between taming and bonding." At the back of the room, Jack Thompson quietly entered with Star, his Void Stalker partner. The massive creature had grown even larger, but she moved with gentle grace between the rows of seats. The alien students gasped, but none ran away. They had all seen the videos of humans riding Void Stalkers to save the council station. "As you can see," Kate continued, gesturing to Star, "size doesn't determine friendliness. Star here is 10 times larger than she was when Jack first met her, but their bond has only grown stronger." A blue-skinned student raised their hand. "But how do you know it won't turn on you? Our histories are full of stories about Void Stalkers destroying entire fleets." Jack scratched Star behind her ears, making her purr so loudly the room vibrated. "The same way you know a friend won't turn on you. Trust, respect, and understanding go both ways." The lesson continued as Kate and Jack explained the basics of animal behavior. They showed videos of Earth's history with animals, from ancient cave paintings of hunters working with wolves to modern service dogs helping people. "Every species has something to teach us," Kate explained. "On Earth, we learned hunting from wolves, independence from cats, loyalty from dogs, and problem-solving from ravens. Now we're learning space navigation from void stalkers. Did you know they can sense solar storms 3 days before our best instruments? The alien students took notes excitedly. In just 6 months, Earth had become the most popular destination for species across the galaxy. Everyone wanted to learn the human secret of befriending dangerous creatures. After class, First Observer, now the head of the new Galactic Wildlife Division, met with Kate in her office. Through the window, they could see teams of humans and aliens practicing with various space creatures in the Academy's special training area. "I never thought I'd see the day," First Observer said, watching a young alien student successfully call a small void stalker to their side. "We spent thousands of years fighting these creatures, and in less than a year, humans have turned them into allies." Kate smiled. "And not just void stalkers. Look there." She pointed to another training area, where a team was working with shimmering space jellies, creatures that could safely transport ships through wormholes. Once you understand that every animal has its own language, its own needs and intelligence, everything changes. The Council has received requests from 50 more species wanting to join the Academy, First Observer said. And reports of creature attacks across the galaxy have dropped by 80%, all because humans showed us a different way. Outside, Jack was teaching a group of alien students how to read void stalker body language. Star played the perfect teaching assistant, demonstrating different poses and signals while the students took notes. "You know what the best part is," Kate said, watching the class. "We're learning just as much from them. Each new species brings knowledge about different space creatures. Together, we're building a whole new understanding of life in the galaxy." A small alarm beeped on her desk. "Oh, time for the advanced class. Today we're starting work with the shadow whales of Neptune's ring. Wait until they see how we got those to help with deep space navigation." First Observer shook his head in amazement. "Humans really do have a gift for this, don't they?" "Not a gift," Kate corrected. "Just patience, curiosity, and the willingness to see beauty in things others fear. Now, want to come watch the shadow whale class? I heard they're bringing a baby one for demonstration." 5 years had passed since humans first showed the galaxy how to befriend its most feared creatures. The graduation ceremony at the Interstellar Wildlife Academy was about to make history again. The massive ceremony hall was filled with beings from hundreds of different worlds. At the front of the room, Dr. Kate Miller stood proudly beside Jack Thompson. Star, now fully grown and the size of a small spaceship, curled protectively around the stage, her purple stripes glowing softly. "Today," Kate announced to the crowd, "we celebrate our first non-human graduate to achieve full Wildlife Master certification. Please welcome Master Trainer Lightbreeze." A small green alien walked onto the stage. What made this moment special wasn't just that Lightbreeze was the first alien graduate, it was who accompanied them. Beside Lightbreeze walked a young void stalker, its steps perfectly matched to its trainers. The crowd burst into applause. Many of the aliens had tears in their eyes. Just 5 years ago, the very sight of a void stalker would have caused panic. Now, they watched in joy as one moved gracefully through the crowd with its alien trainer. "Lightbreeze," Kate continued, "has not only mastered the techniques of animal communication and care, but has also added new knowledge to our understanding. Their research on void stalker song patterns has revolutionized how we communicate with these magnificent creatures." Lightbreeze stepped forward to accept their certificate. Their young void stalker, whom they had named Hope, gently nuzzled their shoulder in congratulation. The sight made Jack smile, remembering his first days with Star. When humans first joined the Galactic Council, Lightbreeze spoke, their voice soft but clear. "We thought they were crazy. They brought deadly Earth predators as pets and talked about befriending our worst nightmares. But they taught us the most important lesson of all: fear comes from not understanding." As if to prove their point, a group of school-age alien children ran up to Hope, offering treats they had brought for the occasion. The young void stalker carefully took the treats, Then let the children pet its glowing stripes. First observer, watching from the front row, wiped away a tear. 5 years ago, those children would have been taught to run and hide at the mere mention of a void stalker. Now look at them. The changes went far beyond just void stalkers. Around the ceremony hall, examples of human-inspired animal partnerships could be seen everywhere. A security team patrolled with trained space wolves, their silver fur shimmering as they walked. Transport ships outside the windows were guided by pods of friendly shadow whales. Even the station's waste management system now used specially trained space slugs to process garbage efficiently. But our work is far from over. Light Breeze continued. Every day, we discover new species, new opportunities to turn fear into friendship. Thanks to what humans taught us, we now ask, how can we understand this creature, instead of how can we fight it? After the ceremony, Kate found Jack in the observation deck, watching Star play with Hope in space. The two void stalkers were teaching each other new games, their stripes creating beautiful light patterns in the darkness. "Did you ever think," Jack asked, "when you first came to help with the void stalker crisis, that it would lead to all this?" Kate smiled. Humans have always had this gift, the ability to see past fear to the beauty underneath. We did it with wolves until they became dogs. We did it with horses until they became partners. Now we're doing it with creatures across the galaxy. Outside, more void stalkers had joined the play session. Wild ones and trained ones moved together in space, their lights creating a dance of purple and white. On the station's promenade deck, aliens of all species watched without fear, many accompanied by their own animal companions. "You know what the best part is?" Kate said softly. "This is still just the beginning."